Hey guys, I'm Charlie at Charlie Book Fanatic. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to do my January TBR. Happy New Year's! It's finally 2018 and I'm so excited. My second semester of university is going to start in February, so I have all of January off and I'm so excited to finally have a break from university because I haven't had one in the past 6 months. So yeah, let's talk about the books I want to read during January. My TBRs are going to be much smaller from now on because I noticed I read quite few things in the past few months, so I think I might not need to set such an ambitious TBR for myself anymore because I noticed I can't read all of the books on there. So I'm going to keep it much more compact, much smaller, and I feel very good about that. And if I manage to read more than that, that's good. I will just select those books and you will see them in my wrap up the next month. The first book I want to read in January is actually a graphic novel. It's been a while since I've read a graphic novel, and that is Miss Marvel Volume 3, Crushed by Willow Wilson. I don't have this graphic novel in my possession yet, but I know I'm going to get it for Christmas from my boyfriend. I'm filming this way before Christmas actually, so that's why I don't have it in my possession yet, but I will definitely get it and read it in January because it's been so long since I read a Miss Marvel graphic novel. Miss Marvel follows a Muslim girl who suddenly gets turned into this superhero called Miss Marvel, and she tries to balance her high school life and her family not knowing about her being Miss Marvel with her superhero duties. And I think it's so cool because it does follow a Muslim girl, her culture, her family, her traditions, and her also being a superhero and trying to balance those things out. It shows definitely enough from her personal life and her superhero life, and I like that so much. I don't really love graphic novels, but I definitely enjoyed this series, so I'm very excited to continue on with it. And I want to read two books that were also on my November and December TBR, I believe. The first one is Letters to the Lost by Brigid Kemmerer. I talked about the synopsis so many times, but I will one last time. It's about a girl and a boy. The boy has to do court-ordered community service at a cemetery, and this girl is leaving letters at her mother's grave. The boy reads the letters and starts writing letters to the girl, and she's responding to them, and they basically have this correspondence through letters via the cemetery. Very unique synopsis, said this multiple times. I am excited to read this and I hope I will finally get to it in January because I didn't manage to get to it in November or December. And the next book is Your Welcome Universe by Whitney, Gardner. This book follows a deaf girl who goes to school for the deaf, but then she finds some not so nice graffiti about her best friend and she tags over it and gets expelled from her school, so she has to go to a regular school, not for the deaf, and she has to get used to that. Also, she has two moms, which is very cool. Yay for diversity! And she's Indian American as well. So I am very excited to see how the representation is going and what the story is going to do. I am very excited about both of these books. I just didn't manage to get to them, which I'm very sad about because I didn't have enough time, or I just chose to do other things instead of reading. And also I want to choose a fourth book, but for that I am going to use my TBR jar, which I haven't used in a little bit, at least not last month, but I'm definitely going to use it now to find a challenge and then choose a book for it. I recently cleaned out my TBR on Goodreads actually, so I'm not entirely sure if I have enough books. Most of them are actually new releases that haven't come out yet, that are going to be released in 2018 or later. So I hope I'll have a book on my TBR, otherwise I will just need to look for one on Goodreads. So let's look at the challenge. I picked the challenge. I have it upside down. The challenge, geez girl, incompetent. The challenge is a popular author's first book, and I will definitely not have this on my TBR, so I will have a browse and I will get back to you in the next shot. I actually did manage to find a book on my TBR, and this is a very loose interpretation of first book, but I'm going with Sad Girls, which is Leav's debut novel. She's actually a poet and she has brought out more books, but they were all poetry. And Sad Girls is her first actual fiction book, so I'm going to use her as a popular author because her poetry is very popular, and Sad Girls is her first novel, so I feel like it counts. And I wanted to read this one in December as well, it was on my TBR. It's about a girl who has anxiety and she feels like she caused a classmate's death, and I don't know much more about that, except that she also falls in love. I believe it's a very basic premise, but I love Leav poetry, so I will definitely want to try out her first novel. So these were all the books I want to read during January. Let me know down below everything about your TBR. How was your New Year's? I would love to know everything. Let me know all of the things. Have you read any exciting things lately? What are you going to read in January? Have you read any of these books? Let me know all of your thoughts down below. Just tell me anything. Thank you for watching. Goodbye!